Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How is everybody? Welcome to another episode of Roll Around, Find Out. In today's episode, we're going to have another Hodge Podge episode. Another array of smaller topics that I don't think necessarily would make for a full-length episode of an hour or more, but a bunch of smaller topics. So we'll just jump right into it. As you can see, if you're watching, I've got a little list here. Heath did a little bit of planning. And so let's just jump into it. The first one is a role-playing game that I think kind of sort of got lost in the shuffle. I think when it was released, it coincided with Knave, and probably more specifically Cairn, and whether it was just not marketed well, or I definitely wouldn't say not as good, or the word I'm looking for is like subpar compared to Knave or Cairn. It just didn't gain traction, and I definitely want to give it some focus here. So Sojourn, which I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is available in multiple places. I believe I purchased it from Amazon. And something to note, I was going through my small but ever-increasing library of tabletop games, and apparently I purchased this game twice. There's I guess they call it a pocket-size version, as well as a full-size version. Think of it as like a zine size versus full US letter sized. All the same content, just in a bigger or smaller package. So let's just compare ratings here. Sojourn RPG came out August 18th, 2022, so a little more than a year ago, and it has 26 reviews. Let's search Cairn. .400 reviews. This is 24 pages. I believe Cairn is also free. I think if you were to go to the website, I think you can download it for free. But to get a paperback is $3.83, which I can only imagine means that Yohai Gall is making $0 off of this. This was released in 2020, so 2 years before Sojourn, so maybe a little sooner. Sojourn was a little after Cairn, and so maybe the ship kind of sailed. People were already entrenched in Cairn, and Sojourn just didn't get the traction, like I said. Let's go and check out their website. I had it open, and then, of course, I closed out of it. Probably goes without saying, but I highly recommend picking this up. The base rules, the quick start guide, is free, but for $12, totally worth it. So pretty cool website here. It really sets the mood. It's line by line popping up here. You stand at the entrance of a dungeon. The cavernous chamber sprawls before you into darkness. Your flickering torchlight illuminates branching paths ahead. There is no telling what dangers lie beyond. What do you do? Search the room. Forge ahead. Open your map. Cast a spell. scribe a magic scroll. And these are clickable, but what they basically do is just take you to different pages on the website, but still really cool. So on the About page, it says, what is Sojourn? It's a tabletop role-playing game of exploration, dungeon crawling, and discovery within dark halls, mystic ruins, and the wilderness of the fantastical. Choose your own path forward, then roll the dice to find out what happens. Right? Real generic, but coolly, very well written. Why Sojourn? Why would you want to play this? A pretty extensive bulleted list. It is a D20 system, which I'll talk about. But here is, in my opinion, the home run of Sojourn, which we will get into. That it is 4 base classes and then 12 essentially subclasses. And I think these subclasses are pretty freaking cool. Like Knave, there's level-less spells, Vancian mana powered, and dice derived spellcasting options. So unlike spell slots. How do I play? It's in 50 pages. And there is a adventure that comes with it, the Rebels Rescue, which I think starts in a forest and you find a mansion that is in shambles. All right. Let's go to play. Order the print edition. So we were just on Amazon. The basic paperback, the larger sized one. If this wants to load, we'll try a different tab. Try this in a different tab. And we'll try the hardcover, the deluxe hardcover. This, I think, is a little pricey. $30 for a 50-page book? I'm sure Caleb Wimble here wants to make a buck, which, hey, more power to him. But, yeah, I think even $20 for a hardcover would be a little much. But that's just me. The Pocket Edition, the smaller version, which is totally usable, just smaller print. I just turned 39 years old, and every day I'm getting older and more crotchety, but it's still readable. I definitely would say that it's worth the upgrade to the full size, the full $12 version, but both work. If you want the big version for yourself, but a small version for your table, save $6 essentially, go for it. Download the digital edition of Sojourn. Pay what you will. Let's click here. Is it really? Oh, $5 here. Let's go to Itch. Buy now. $4.99. Ooh, he needs to change that. It's not pay what you will or pay what you want. It's $5. Which is worth it. Spoiler. Okay. To stay updated on future Sojourn game books and listing, add your name to the mailing list. I should probably do that. Pretty cool here. They give you a little sneak peek of the art and the layout. I think the layout, these black headings here, super sufficient for breaking up the information. The artwork, if I zoom in here, some pictures kind of look like they're photocopies of photocopies, but they get the appeal across. And there's also, like, across it, I don't know how I would describe the art. It's kind of like a high-end Shel Silverstein. which, if you know where the sidewalk ends, this is definitely cartoony and over the top. But like, even though it's black and white, if Shel Silverstein was told, okay, you are writing, I need you to draw me characters for Lord of the Rings, more serious tone, I feel like this is what Shel Silverstein would draw. I think that's kind of the overarching theme. Some people may think like, you're crazy, and I would say you're right. That's fine. Okay. If we go to tools, can't say many other TTRPGs are doing this. I haven't been on Cairn's website. I've not been on Knave's website in a while, but they give you a random character generated right here. If I refresh the page, it will randomize everything here. There is a dice roller on here. You just simply click the dice and they roll. You can click roll the dice and then they're all randomized numbers. Me personally, I would always use the Google one, but it's nice that all on one page here, I've got my character and the dice. I don't have to be flipping through tabs or other things. It's right there. So, kudos to Caleb for making this happen. If I go to downloads, there's a quick start guide, the character sheet, basic classes, quick rules, the adventure, the Manor Cambio map. That's the mansion that they find in the woods. But let's click on these and just get a little sense of how this is laid out. This getting started page is basically the first page in the book. Excuse me. Here are the base classes: the warrior, the zealot, the mage, and the rogue. If we were to think about D&D terms, warrior is fighter, zealot is a cleric, mage is wizard, and rogue is the rogue or the thief. And perfect descriptions for these. If you're a new player, you probably have an idea in mind of a character type, an archetype that you want to play. And so here we go. Warrior, they hit hard and they take hits. The zealot heals friends and harms foes. Mage casts spells and knows secrets. The rogue breaks in and sneaks out. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-word descriptions perfectly describes these character classes. Love it. Your stats here: force is basically your strength, finesse basically your dexterity, wit is kind of sort of combined intelligence and wisdom, and will is basically charisma, if we were to compare it to D&D. Okay. Rolling up your character, your abilities, how you do it. 3d6 total, and very much like D&D, your dice rolls give you a modifier. You're either subtracting or adding to your stats. How do you fill out the character sheet? Let's see. Hit points are an abstraction of your health, stamina, and luck, representing how many hits you can take before dying. Your max HP is determined by a roll of the hit dice plus force. Well, what's your hit dice? It's pretty important. Along with your force, determine your max starting HP and how much weapon damage you deal when you hit an enemy, plus force or finesse, depending on your class. You will have a hit die of a D4, D6, or D8. That's it for that, I guess. Again, this isn't a deep dive into Sojourn, even though I'm kind of going into it. Let's go to basic classes. Alright, and I'll zoom in. So we've got the warrior. Okay? Skilled combatant who uses force to punish enemies in melee. They have, I believe, the highest hit dice, tied with the zealot. They can wear any armor. Their drive, their purpose. Think of this sort of kind of like alignment. It steers their actions. Overcome ever more powerful foes. Alright, you start with feats. You have advantage against paralysis, cleave, disarm, fight defensively, press the attack, two-handed fighting. Well, what do those mean? They give you the descriptions right here. Disarm. On a successful weapon hit, disarm an enemy instead of damaging them. Press the attack. Attack fiercely at the expense of defense. +2 to hit, -4 for your defense. Gives you rules on two-handed fighting. And here is what's cool. Specialties. When you hit level 2, you can become a berserker, a duelist, or a ranger. These are like the subclasses. And now I'm recording my screen so you can't see it, but let me go and find the subclasses here. According to my index, running away, advanced characters leveling up, specialties, page 9. Alright, a warrior. They can specialize into the berserker, the duelist, or a ranger. And I'll just give a couple descriptions of these here. The berserker is a battle master of relentless fury, capable of striking down numerous foes in quick succession. They have advantage on grapple, advantage on mind control. They can brutalize, where they roll an extra critical damage dice. A rage cleave. While you rage, whenever your melee strike kills an enemy, attack another enemy close by. And these skills, which definitely can't see on the screen, like an example on the base classes, these skills level up. So you get a skill at level 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. The rogue, their specialties are the assassin, the bard, and the thief. The zealot has the druid, the paladin, and the prophet. And where is the mage? Let's see. Warrior, rogue, zealot. Miracles. Oh, the zealot has miracles. A prophet. Oh, they get their own little subcategory. And the mage has a sorcerer, a witch, and a wizard. There's a lot of things going on here, which I won't read any of these. But just know that they are all different levels of, or different like categories of spell. The witch has hex. Sorcerer has, let's see. This is kind of seems more like a support. Well, here, I'll read the descriptions for this. The sorcerer evokes volatile energies from distant planes to unleash devastating and often unpredictable powers. Okay, that wasn't helpful at all. Yeah, I'll say at a cursory glance here, they're the support. Witch is kind of like a warlock, and wizard is your, let's see, multicast, warcaster, conjurer of monsters, enchanting. This would be your classic spellcaster. Alright, let me go to the bestiary here. So zombie, wraith, wolf, dire wolf, a white, velociraptor, vampire, ogre, orc, manticore. I bet you goblins in here. Yep, goblin, a lich, and everything you need for a monster. Let me go and see if there's anything special about the actions here. Attacking. To attack with a melee weapon, test your force. If your roll meets or exceeds the enemy's defense, your attack hits. Roll your hit dice plus force to deal damage. To attack with a ranged weapon, test your finesse instead. If you roll a natural 20, it's a critical hit. If you roll a 1, it's a critical miss. So, it's essentially armor class. If you roll higher than their armor class, you hit. So, I would say it's got OSR stamped on the back. It's definitely in the realm of OSR. For $12, $13, $7 if you want the cheaper version, $5 if you want the PDF. A whole complete game that I really, really like. Check it out. All right. Put a little X there. We talked about it. All right, this one is going to be super brief because I'm actually going to do probably my next podcast on this, but Cartograph, which is cartographer. It is a map-making solo RPG. One of the things I started this channel for was I wanted to explore solo RPGs. And based on my last episode, talking about my world building, I definitely need to up my game on map making and let's see, what do they have? You play the role of a budding cartographer arriving at a new land with a blank map book and a desire to explore. By the end, you'll have created a unique map filled with interesting locations and history that you can use in most other fantasy role-playing games. So, I feel like I was working on the lore, and with the help of ChatGPT, I think I did a pretty good job of coming up with like the historic heroes of the land. But that's all a work in progress, and I think this can do nothing but help me improve my skills. So I did hop on YouTube and did a little search of this. I think there's 2 pretty good videos out there. This one I would recommend first, even though 27 minutes is pretty lengthy. It went by fast, and I think you kind of get the meat and potatoes of it about halfway through. And then here, this 22-minute one, Geek Gamers, she kind of goes over her experience with how she's using it. And I guess to a more or less, the dungeon dive here is similar, but I feel like this kind of teaches you the mechanics more, and this is more so how it's being applied. Anything else on here? Ooh, I want to check this one out too. Making maps. I'm going to open this in a new tab as a reminder to me to check it out. So, I will be talking about that one. Cartograph. Where did I put it? Sojourn. I lost it. Oh, here we go. So I actually paid for this. This was $3. So I'm normally a cheapo, but to me this seemed interesting enough that I threw some money at it. I actually purchased it on itch first, and then it said that I wasn't logged in and there was an error. And I said, okay, well, I'll go to drive-thru where I purchase everything. And then I got an email, so I purchased it here, and then I got an email saying that, oh, here's your download from itch, which, whatever. It was only $2 on itch, so, or at least that's what I typed in. So I threw him a couple extra bucks, big deal. All right, so look forward to that. cartograph. Big ol' X. Alright, this next one. Pretty mind-blowing. ChatGPT had a developers conference a week or two ago. Let's see if I can find a ChatGPT developer conference. 8 days ago. And I think the biggest takeaway is that they now have these things, which I think is terribly branded, these things called GPTs. And so I searched GPTs on YouTube, and I've not watched these. I watched another one, somebody in one of my Facebook groups, which, you know what, shout out. Let me get the official group name. They just changed it. If you're listening to this podcast and you're on Facebook, you should totally join the group TTRPG Design Community. Just the most genuine people on here wanting to help you build your game. And one of the admins, I've only been in here for a couple weeks, and I'll admit that I'm not like a huge Facebooker. While I use it, I don't really understand the ins and outs of it, but this was like a green flag for me. I think once a week they post a topic, and it's the same topic, but it's show us your TTRPG website or blog, or if you prefer, your Facebook page or group for your game. Support others, interact, and build each other up. I try to like that post every single time I see it. I've posted this podcast on there, and it is truly just a place where people want to help people. And it's amazing. So check that out. So somebody posted on here GPTs, and this is wild. So ChatGPT, as far as I know, I use version 3.5, which is the poor person version. But if you have 4.0, which is I think $20 a month, it's a better system, and you have access to these GPTs. So what is a GPT? Well, the way it works, the way ChatGPT works is supposedly it is not connected to the internet. So let me test that out. Let me just ask it, are you connected to the internet? No, I don't have the ability to access real-time information or browse the internet. My knowledge is based on the data available up to January 2022. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to help with the information I have. Okay? Wild. But I think I read an article saying that they are about to be connecting to the internet. It's something that they're working on. And so I'm sure it's a massive database from January 2022 and prior, but if it's connected and it gets real time, I mean, its learning is just going to be exponential. Okay, but so it has its database of stuff, and you know, who knows how many terabytes of information is on there. But bearing the lead, as I always do, a GPT, the new thing that they're doing, you can upload a file. You can upload a document. It can be virtually anything, a PDF, a Word file, text file, and it will analyze it. Let's say you are writing a long adventure, and it's 30 pages. You upload it, it will analyze it, and then now it can refer back to your documents, and you can ask it questions. You can ask it for advice. This is wild to me. I have a friend who's a published author, and he gave me a PDF of his book as a review copy, I guess, to check out beforehand. if he uploaded that, it's whatever, 200 something pages. If he uploaded that as its own GPT, ChatGPT would analyze it. It would know all of the characters, the story, the plot, the theme, the writing structure, you name it. And then my friend could just type in and say, write me a sequel. Write me a 213-page sequel. 213-page sequel would just appear before his eyes. That's just absolutely freaking wild to me. So, while I'm not paying for it, I might for a month to try it out. Because I'm currently obsessed with finding the perfect Final Fantasy VII tabletop game. I would upload the Omega Fantasy 2 that I did a podcast about. I would say analyze it, analyze the bestiary, or maybe I would even just upload the bestiary, and then I would upload a text file of every monster in Final Fantasy VII, and I would say, all right, make me a new bestiary using all of the monsters from Final Fantasy VII in the style of the Omega Fantasy 2 bestiary. And I imagine it would just instantaneously make that for me. Maybe I'd have to do some tweaks, some different prompts for it to get it to work. But, wow, this is just wild. Just wild. You can, to your heart's content, anything you have a document for, upload it. ChatGPT will analyze it. I recommend just doing this YouTube search and seeing what abilities are out there. Look at these videos. It's so new. 6 hours ago, 7 hours ago, 1 day ago, 10 hours. People are just exploring the capabilities of these. They're going to be life-changing. It's going to be wild. All right. Check that off the list. Checkity check. Okay. itch.io. Let's check it out. I always talk about drive-through RPG, and I rarely, if ever, talk about itch. Now, part of that is because I get frustrated every time I come here. I guess it's a huge thing with, like, digital games. I don't know. I know nothing about the digital games of this. I haven't gamed in forever. These web games, no idea. How do I... Boomer alert, I don't know. All right? But I get frustrated because every single time, I don't know where to find the D&D games. I know it's physical games, but okay, here it is. Browse physical games. All right, I found it. Okay, rant over. 40,000 results. 40,328 results. You can't tell me you can't find something on here that's going to scratch your itch. So I believe early on, this was a pretty great resource for me personally and Mothership. Mothership is on here for free. I believe there's some supplements and adventures for Mothership on here for free and for pay. So many of these are free, but this one here, Wander Home, which I think Professor Dungeoncraft did a video on this. I just saw this somewhere on one of the YouTube people that I follow. And I think it was like tabletop games for kids. And this is on my list of things to check out. I think just the design of it right here, like, yep, I'm on board. Love it. So this is something that I want to explore. There's one popular one on here. Trash Panda, I think. And Honey Heist. These are things. Oh yeah, right here, Honey Heist. Apparently this has like a huge cult following, and I'm not on board with it, but it doesn't sound like something I would want to run, but if somebody wanted to run it for me, I would probably be all about it. You have a complex plan that requires precise timing. You are a goddamn bear. Yeah. Get a drink here. That's largely it. It's easy to run and easy to play. And there's a D8 table for hats if you want to be a bear that wears a hat. And who doesn't want that? So, just pretty funny. Mouse Ritter. This is what I'm going to do a discussion on someday. Mouse Ritter is great art, great character sheet. They want you to fill out your character sheet with physical cards or physical paper, I guess, for your inventory. Very rules light. You know why I like it. It's a roll under system. You are a mouse. You live in trees. You live in holes in the ground. It's a sword and whiskers role-playing game. It's amazing. I love it, and so much of it is free. Another one on here, which let's see, can I search it? 2400. This is one that I found years ago, and the art just instantly drew me in. There are so many different supplements for this game. I'm stuttering here because they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 on this list. Okay? Then you can go here. Let's see, where was it? Discord servers. Okay. This 2400 games collection includes over 100 titles. These are people that have developed the Dying Sun theme. I haven't been on here in a while. I have to go check this out. $2 if this is what you want. $2. Just my heart is growing 3 sizes larger. There's just so many supplements for this. Zombies, $2. Yeah, I'll probably be buying you later tonight. The B Team, play second string heroes in this 2400 adventure. Oh, yeah. Just, there's something about me that having these, even if I never play them, just the creativity that goes into these by everyday people. They're putting it up for $0. They just love the game. They don't care about making money. Pokemon, yeah, amazing. So the game itself is free. The rules are free. Now, not a deep dive at all, but just to show you, as cool as this is, there was a time where it was too weird for me. Now, that weird is the wrong word. Too abstract. And in my learning, in my preference of tabletop games, I think this is still probably a little too rules light for me, but that can be changed. Now, here's the one big thing that I have issue with, is that there are no stats. Well, that's a lie. The big one is there's no hit points. So here's the resolution system. It's D6. You roll a 1 or 2. Full risk. GM decides if you succeed at all. If risking death, you die. 3 to 4, there's a setback, a lesser consequence, or partial success. If you roll a 5 or higher, you succeed. Okay? Here. The rules of the game are right there. All right? But they give you other I don't know if there's stats, just things that you're good at. The way this is worded, players describe what their characters do, period. The GM advises when their action is impossible, demands a cost or extra steps, or presents a risk. Players can revise plans before committing so as to change goals or stakes. Only roll to avoid risk. Okay? I want to do something. GM describes it. Then the player says, well, okay, I'm going to do this instead. Here's a great example of how I feel this is abstract. All right? Your load. What can you carry? Well, in other games, you can carry up to your strength. You can carry up to half your strength. You have limited item slots. Okay? In 2400, you carry as much as makes sense. But more than one bulky item may hinder you at times. So it is totally up to the player and the GM to come to an agreement on what's happening here. Am I tough? Am I weak? If I take a shotgun blast, do I die instantly? Does my armor absorb it? GM. Describe characters in terms of behaviors, risks, and obstacles, not skill dice. So not like, well, I get a +2 to strength, so I'm really strong. Tell me, why are you strong? Are you a weightlifter? Are you technologically enhanced in some way? Lead the group in setting lines not to cross in play. Fast forward, pause, or rewind or redo for pacing and safety. Invite players to do likewise. Never would you read in a Dungeons and Dragons book, oh yeah, just rewind it, just do it again. You know what? Didn't work out. Didn't understand. Nope. Present dilemmas you don't know how to solve. Move spotlight to give all time to shine. Test as needed for bad luck. Example, running out of ammo or run into guards. Roll a die to check. 1 to 2 are troubles, 3 to 4 signs of trouble. Improvise rulings to cover gaps in rules. On a break, revise unsatisfactory rulings as a group. It is so rules light. And like I said, there was a period of time there where I thought, well, it's hard for me to even say it, but compared to this game, that hit points, I guess I like that level of crunch that I have to figure it out. All right. Using the base rules, here are things that you can be good at. So it says here, characters start with 6-ish skill increases and or credits in items, possibly combining, quote, specialty and origin, or 3 skill increases as a stand-in. So here are things that you can be good at, and instead of rolling a d6, you roll a d8. You're leveling up. This was like step dice, which I love step dice. The better you get at something, here's the advancement. You go from a D8 to a D10 to a D12. I don't know how else you would improve that. Maybe it's like a D12 plus 1. Maybe it's 2D10, 2D8, 2D6 for the curve. I'm sure there's a chart out there that shows you how to progress, but at its simplest, you go from a D6 to a D8, D10, D12. That's how you level up with step dice. Now, if you were to click on any of these other hundreds of versions, let me close that out. These all have different intricacies of what makes this version of 2400 different. Different classes, different stats. Super cool, worth checking out. You know what? I'm actually going to add another one to the list here, since this is a Hodge Podge. Ooh. doesn't like that. Since it is, I think, primarily known for being on itch, lasers, and feelings. Let me download this. Lots of people like this. Install. I don't want to install anything. All right, here is a role-playing game on one page. There are so many different hacks of lasers and feelings. It's wild. Do yourself an itch.io search on that. But here's the mechanics of this game. Rolling the dice. When you do something risky, roll 1d6 and find out how it goes. Roll plus 1d if you're prepared, and plus 1d if you're an expert. The GM tells you how many dice to roll, based on your character and the situation. Roll your dice and compare each die result to your number. If you're using lasers, science, and reason, which is specific to this version, as you can tell here, it's like Star Trek themed, you want to roll under your number. If you're using feelings, rapport, and passion, you want to roll over your number. Let's see, can I get... Alright, let me read this. Create characters. Choose a style for your character. Alien, android, dangerous, heroic, hotshot, Bob. Choose a role. Doctor, envoy, engineer, explorer, plot. Okay, so these just help you decide how many dice to roll. The GM could say, oh, well, you are a hotshot pilot, and you are now in some sort of race against somebody else in your ship. Well, because you're a hotshot, you can roll extra dice. Choose your number from 2 to 5. A high number means you're better at lasers, which for this version is technology, science, cold rationality, calm, precise action. A low number means you're better at feelings, intuition, diplomacy, seduction, wild, passionate action. Give your character a cool space adventure name. Give it a goal. All right. So your stat, basically, you pick, do you really want to be on the laser side or do you want to really be on the feelings side? And so when you are rolling under, that's got to be a real bummer to add dice. When you're rolling over, that seems much easier to do. So, this is a game that, again, has so many hacks to it. I would love to be a player in it before I'm the GM, but they give you tips for the GM on how to run the game. Here's also another thing. So I said it's Star Trek-y themed. Here we go. Literally, I think this is probably what Lasers and Feelings is most known for, is you want to make an adventure? Sure, let's roll for it. So let me do this. Let's make a new tab here. Let's make a new tab, roll dice. Bring this over here. All right, the threat. Let me roll. The threat is a rogue captain. Okay. A rogue captain wants to bond with a quantum tunnel. That one's a stretch. All right. A rogue captain wants to bond with the quantum tunnel, which will destroy a solar system. All right? So the captain believes if they enter the quantum tunnel, they will discover a whole new dimension or a whole new realm of space or a whole new efficient way to travel, but if anything enters the quantum tunnel, it sucks in all matter, in this solar system. And there we go. In less than a minute, I've got tonight's adventure. For anybody that runs a episodic table where every night or every time you play, it's a new story, Lasers and Feelings is great for it. So I'll close out of it and close out of this. Let me Google it. Lasers and Feelings hacks. Okay, let's go back here. I like this, of course, on itch.io. Lasers and Feelings hacks. Here you go. Just tons. Oh, that's it. Let me see if I can search it in here. Lasers and Feelings hacks. Hacks spelled wrong. Because I don't know how to spell. Cars and Family. So I imagine this is Fast and Furious hack. That's amazing. Campers and Counselors. The Office. Squid Games. Matrix. This has got to be fantasy. Flesh and Spirit. Zookeepers. Just Ghostbusters, Lasers and Feelings. You search it, it exists. So, Tunes and Turmoil, a Lasers and Feelings riff. Alien musicians playing gigs across the galaxy. So, there you go. Check out Lasers and Feelings. It's wild. Alright. Itch.io, check. 2400, check. Lasers and Feelings, check. Lasers, Shift 7. Alright, Mega Man. So, Mega Man is just a placeholder for so many other topics, but thanks to the Google, I've been obsessed with Final Fantasy VII as a tabletop role-playing game. Think of a hobby you're interested in. Think about a topic you're interested in. And do yourself a favor and Google search that as a tabletop role-playing game. Just to show you the things that are out there. Baseball tabletop role-playing game. Deadball is one that I'm thinking of. Let's see, is Deadball on drive-thru? Deadball drive-thru. Yeah. So there are different versions of this, but this is just the one that I'm most familiar with. You can literally play baseball with dice. I'm glad I'm talking about this. This Hodge Podge is a good episode. At least for me. Football. Pen and paper football is football without the commercials, endless merchandising, and prison sentences. Jeez. A few dice and some paper is all you need to simulate an American football game. Just find some friends or play solo, roll up some teams, and pit them against each other in league play, which requires 8 simple dice rolls to play a game, or in head-to-head play, which simulates a game play-by-play. What is this called? Pen and paper football has all the rules you need to play a whole season of football, with rules for passing, running, kicking, penalties, injuries, and even off-season rules for team development. There are dozens of sample teams you can use and handy record sheets for teams, leagues, and games. A friend of mine, I printed off Dead Ball to him and gave it to him because he, I think, does it like other people play trivia. Like he goes to some place and he plays baseball dice, whatever the game is called. And he was explaining it to me. I've since forgotten it, but super interesting. And the purpose of this is just do yourself a favor. You're not the only one on planet Earth to have the idea that you're thinking. And so while I'm obsessed with Final Fantasy, there are so many hacks and tabletop games for other things that you're interested in. So this person here did one on Mega Man X. And you want to play in the world of Mega Man? Sure. Here's your character. Here are your stats. There are abilities, the weapons that you could have. Drill missile, oil can, item capture, power charge. Items that you can carry, stealth dash. I'm sure there's skills on here. Let's see if a bestiary is on here. Sure is. Example, Mavericks, Bob Bean, Creeper, Crusher. Here you go. What is this, 15 pages? 15 pages, somebody came up with a Mega Man-themed tabletop role-playing game. Amazing. Just absolutely amazing. So, do you have a passion about... Let's try... Thinking about what one of my friends here, what he would be into. This is an old reference. Devil May Cry tabletop RPG. Devil May Cry tabletop role-playing game. Let's go to Reddit. They're usually more consistent. Looks like it. Yep. There you go. So, now, is this the prettiest thing to look at? No, but if you're passionate about it, you will look past that, and you will just be excited to play in the world of Devil May Cry. Right? Now, along those lines, Kickstarter Forgotten Ballads. So, actually, let's go back to Itch. It leads into this. Heroes of Cerulean. Okay. I backed late, I guess on Backer Kit, I think it's called. The, let's see, can I get more examples of what this is? The project is closed. Dang it. Okay, well, you have to check out, if you're a Zelda fan, you have to check out Heroes of Cerulean. It is amazing. Uses D4s for your skill checks. Here's the rules right here. They give you everything. 3 stats. 1 to 2 you fail. 3 is a success, but you lose a heart. 4 is a successful action. It gives you... There's a player's guide, monster manual, and a free adventure in here, the Woodland Temple. And it's free. This is more than I'll ever need, but I was so excited about it, I pledged to back the physical version of other things that they have. There's 3 more dungeons, but the core rules I don't think change. I think these are the exact same. And kind of bummed, kind of not bummed. I wish I could show you here. The game kind of looks like this, but the cover also looks like a Nintendo cartridge. And I kind of wanted to pony up and get the advanced version, which was a gold Nintendo disc, and I think it had a slipcover. But I think it was expensive enough. I think this was $40 for this, and I think it was $60 for the deluxe version, and it just didn't quite... I'm not going to use it enough, even though it would have looked nice on my shelf. All right. But that leads me into... Let's see, I must have closed out of it. Kickstarter Forgotten Ballads. So, I backed this, and it is another Zelda-themed tabletop role-playing game. I will say I do not like this one as much as Heroes of Cerulean. However, the coolest thing of this is that it really focuses on music. This would be like a more hyper-focused Zelda game, more so like Ocarina of Time. There are spells, I think they work like spells, that you play an instrument for, and then you get special effects. So, let me go to here, because let's see, it's got to be on their webpage. I'm burying it here, but they just came out with, or they just launched, I should say, a new version, which is basically a monster manual. Oh, it's not on here. How do I find other things? So let's try searching Bloat Games. Let me see if on my phone here I can look it up. Sorry to make you wait. Drive-through, Itch, Amazon, Yahoo. Cries of the Overworld. Cries of the Overworld. Here we go. By Eric Bloat. So I will back this. I think just a very simple but very attractive cover here. It is a monster manual, and I actually reached out to him. I'd be interested to see if he updates this. No, he didn't add it to the year, but I think it's like 60 pages, and it does repeat all of the monsters from the core book. And so I would like a hardcover, but $40? I'm kind of a completionist, and if I already have a hardcover for the core rules, I'm a sucker, I guess. Let's see, is it in comments? 32 new monsters. Okay, so he did add it up here. Yeah. I see a lot of returning, 32. Alright, so Heroes of Cerulean, in my humble opinion, is better. However, this is still cool, and it is going on right now. Check it out. Me saying that Heroes of Cerulean is better probably negates Eric Bloat from ever coming on this podcast, but that's okay. It is my true opinion. So, there you go. Kickstarter. It is amazing, and it has not necessarily taken a lot of my money, but more money than I guess I would like to admit that it's taken. All right. Done. And done. I covered all the topics I wanted to cover. So, how am I doing on time? About an hour. I think I crushed it. So, there's my Hodge Podge episode. Check out all of those things. They are inspiring me. They are making me better. They're cool. Their 2400 is free. Lasers and Feelings free. Just massive communities supporting those. Sojourn, I think a great take on OSR. I think the classes, subclasses are fantastic. Cartograph, that's probably the next one. I'm going to be making my own maps. I kind of want to see, maybe I need to buy a webcam because I want to show myself making the map. I guess I could use my phone to record. I guess that's probably what I'll do. You have a passion, go check and see if there's a tabletop version of it. I'm sure it exists. Mega Man's a great example. So, there we go. Thanks for coming along. on this journey of me learning all I can on the tabletop hobby. Hodge Podge episode number 2 in the books. See you in the next episode. Later.